It's time for Wrestling for the Culture, where we take a look inside to see what the wrestlers of color have been doing this week. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the special edition of Wrestling for the Culture. I'm joined with some friends here as we have a very important discussion. As you know, we are in the middle of a pandemic that's been going on for quite frankly, well over 200-300 years, the racial pandemic. Yeah, obviously, our thoughts and prayers go out to those suffering from COVID-19 because that's a pandemic in itself. But lately, with the senseless killings of people such as George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery, and so many more, that this has really put racism on the map for people who have tried to mask it and try to hide it. Well, in case you didn't notice, there's a lot of racism that goes on in professional wrestling. So today I'm joined by right now 5 other individuals in all ways, shape, or form of wrestling. We have podcasters, we have bookers, and of course, we have professional wrestlers on here. So I'm gonna go around the screen, first starting off with Ariela Nyx. Ariela, could you introduce yourself?
Hi, well, I'm the answer to your prayers, Ariela Nyx. I'm here as a wrestler based out of New York City.
And then also we have the very outspoken Jon'Tae Kieth.
Yep, as he said, very outspoken. Like, I ain't taking no shit from nobody, so what's good? I'm from Detroit. Let's talk.
And so, on my screen, to my bottom left, I have one of my good friends, somebody who I've had the pleasure of working in the business side by side. And, sometimes I guess, work under his direction. And that's the one and only Blake Thomas, also known as Blizz.
What's up, y'all? Like he said, this is Blake, known as Blizz. Blizz Photography, booking, producing, agent, and backstage wrestling. That's what I do. Just scratching and surviving like the opening of Good Times.
And, below me on the screen, the screens just switched. But I have my good brother, somebody I've worked side by side in wrestling, in sports, and entertainment. We've used to have a show called The Wrestler Summit together. And that's the one and only Glen Thomas. G-Lo, what's up, bro?
Nothing much, man. All is well, man. Check us out every week on Wrestling Marks of Excellence. You can check me out there. Love the word of professional wrestling. Y'all also can check me out in Virginia if you're down here, and looking for people to book in the wrestling show.
And then last but certainly not least, to my bottom right, I have the one and only. He's also been a former guest on Wrestling for the Culture, as is Ariela, as is Jon'Tae, and as the one and only Snoop, aka Koto.
What's up, y'all? It's Snoop. Like I said, just like he said, just telling how it is. Based out of Florida, and let's get down to it, man.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and first and foremost, and I'm start with Ariela, and we're gonna work our way around. I gotta let me know how you're doing during this time. Be as raw as authentic. My thing for this show, I don't want anybody to pull back any punches. I personally believe that we have pulled back so many punches for so long. We've played so nice, whether it's talking about the 3 letters in Connecticut, the 3 letters that's now in Florida, or 3 letters in Jersey or anywhere else. So obviously I don't want nobody to lose any bookings, but I want you to feel comfortable in this space. Ariela, how you been feeling so far?
Honestly, I've been down, like seeing everything that's coming out, and it's just like we're really still going through the same thing that we've been fighting for hundreds of years. And it's like, I'm glad that it's becoming more exposed again and people are really fighting for it this time. And I went and did my first protest earlier today, and that made me feel a lot better. It's a small thing, but just, to be a part of it, show my support, and just see how many people actually do support this issue, and hoping that this will somehow lead to real change, not just some BS that we've dealt with in the past. Like, just brush it under the rug. Like, it needs to really change. We've been fighting for this for how long now?
Yeah, that's true. Jon'Tae?
Yeah, I agree. I've been the same way. Like, I just been sad, bro, because it's like, damn, like we've been, like she said, we've been fighting for this for years, bro. Like, we still going through the same shit, and that's why Black folks is mad, because it's a constant. It keeps repeating, bro. Like, for anybody that don't know that why we upset is because history keeps repeating itself. You know what I'm saying? You can't keep marching and telling folks like, bro, like stop beating my ass, stop killing me until you just get frustrated. You know what I'm saying? That's what really was going on right now. We just pissed. You know what I'm saying? It's just gonna keep being like that until shit changes. I'm sorry. Like I get emotional talking about it. We just started.
I hear you, man.
And that's the reason why I wanted to do the show. I just wanted to get everybody, I've been thinking about this. For me, I haven't been feeling like doing a show really for a whole week. And, I felt like, I wanted to be able to talk with my brothers and sisters about this. Blake, how are you feeling?
Man, kind of just like what everybody else said. It's more of a sad feeling, like you feel let down, you get anger, you kind of break down everything that everybody is saying, whether they're friends, whether it's associates, whether it's family members, something like everything feels like it's being broke down into like little things of like, man, is this person genuine? Is this person playing me? Is this person racist? And it's like we live in a world, we in 2020, and when we was for the older generation, I ain't gonna say my age, but for the people that were in the 90s, we thought in the 2000s we'd be in flying cars, but we didn't know that in 2020 we'd be right back in like 1960, which is weird. So it's a lot of different emotions, and it plays a huge part in not only my mental, but a lot of my loved ones, and a lot of people I know is mental as well. So having something like this to speak out, you'll know who not only help the people that's involved in this chat right now, but whoever listens, it can help them as well.
Yeah.
Glenn, how you feeling, brother?
Doing, not too bad, man. I'm doing well, and I say that not in a bad sense. I've been to several protests, and like I said, like Ariela said, it helps you come down when you see a lot of people embracing it, and when you're around a lot of people that have the like mind. I think I'm coming from a different standpoint, being a father of a 14-year-old black male. Looking at it like, what does my son have to look forward to, in the next 4 years when he turns 18 or when he turns 16? When he starts driving, do I have to tape his registration and his driver license to the dashboard so he don't have to reach into the glove compartment and somebody think he has a gun? Do I not let him drive the decent car because I don't want nobody to stop him because he's driving a decent car? You know what I'm saying? So it's just that aspect, and not how it affects my young man, but how does it affect my daughter going forward when she has to marry, when she does marry, who she marry another man of color who has not dealt with this issue from 2020 and the next 15 years when she get married. He has somebody in his family that died. So I'm looking at it from the family aspect of it. How does it impact my family? How does it impact, years to come? Because guess what? We saw a murder on TV. I mean, you saw a murder on TV. Kids saw murder on TV, the life go out of somebody. And, how does that impact their mental, not just us as adults, but the younger people? So that's why I'm dealing with the young kids and the teenagers, how to handle them going forward.
Yeah, and Snoop, how you feeling, bro?
Basically, I'm feeling just like everybody else right now. Like, I was starting to be like in a good mood, get motivated again, because shows are starting to come back, starting to get you down. Like, I'm one of those people. I try to stay away from the negative stuff on social media, but like, I can't stay away from this one. Like, I keep opening my phone and looking at it again and again. Like, I can't look away because this irks me. Like, I feel how everyone is feeling. Like, you can't get away from it. And like he said, it's the same shit we've been saying for like years. Like our parents, our grandparents, their grandparents. So like, it's nothing new. But I also feel like this time feels a little different because I feel like the movement is actually stronger this time. Like more people, more names are standing up for, like, everyone's actually coming together instead of like, I feel like before a lot of people, like, you see the celebrities, basketball players, like whoever else, big names, they stayed away and didn't really get into it like they needed to. Now I feel like everybody's coming together and everybody's attacking it at once. And I feel like almost the pandemic kind of helped that because there's nothing else, people not doing nothing else right now, so everyone can see it. So it's there right there in everyone's face.
Yeah, you know what? And I think I want to add to that what you just said. I think the pandemic did help because people saw it. You know, we didn't see Trayvon Martin. We didn't see Filio Castillo. We didn't see, Sandra Bland. You didn't see that, but you actually saw George Floyd lose his life. And I think that's what made the big difference where we at right now.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I'm gonna ask if you could turn your backgrounds down just so that, make sure our audience be able to hear. And so usually, a lot of times with my podcast, I usually start with, the top, the E, and go, on. But I'm actually gonna start from the indies because we see the blatant racism in WWE. We see the blatant racism in wrestling in the history. But I want to talk about the independent circuit. And I'm actually going to start with Jon'Tae because, like I said, I know you've been very vocal. Coming out of this pandemic, or I should say before we get to coming out, what are some of the things that you've noticed during your career and, perhaps some of the lack of opportunities you may have gotten because you being a black male?
Being in wrestling I've been doing it for like 10 years or whatever. Like what I've noticed is that if you're black, you got to be 20 times better than everybody. But that's just how it is with everything that you do. Like, look, I like to use Ricochet as the perfect example because like he's like literally like the most athletic dude I've ever seen in wrestling history, African American, whatever. And like that's how you got to be in wrestling. You have to be extra. Whereas if you got somebody white, he can be mediocre, this, that, and the third, whatever, it's all good. He can still end up getting somewhere because it's like, let's just be real. Wrestling is a white boy sport, bro. You know what I'm saying? They own this shit. This is theirs. So like we gotta go out and we gotta be extra. We gotta do this and we gotta do that. I also noticed that there's a lot of quiet races, especially like in the Midwest. You know what I'm saying? Well, one of the main things, like I will say this, I respect a racist that will tell me that he don't like me straight up. Whereas if I'm gonna be backstage with a bunch of racists and not even know, you know what I'm saying? That's like one of the main things I've noticed too, like throughout this whole thing, is that you just constantly, people that you thought that you were really cool with are like racist now. Like you were like, damn, where that shit come from? Because just backstage, it was all right, brother, how you want to shake my hand the indie way, the working way? Like, nah, all that bullshit. Whole time, you over here talking about, you know what I'm saying? So, man,
the way it is, I feel like a lot of people are just like, everything's out in the open now. And a lot of people, like you said, they'll shake your hand, brother, backstage. But in the back of it, they know. But like now it's coming out. People are speaking how they feel. And now people really see it.
And I hate, I ain't mean to cut you off, I'm sorry, but I hate the fact that it seems so trendy now to be cool with black folks. Whereas like back then it was like when I was trying to explain to you why Black Lives Matter, it was I had, you know what I'm saying, they wasn't trying to hear it. Now all of a sudden it's just like, oh well. And I'm not saying that people can't have a change of heart. Like, I'm not saying that. But like after so many deaths, like that you trying to explain, why is it all of a sudden now that you see it? Okay, yeah, like we saw the actual death and whatnot, but like you saw Mike Brown dead in the middle of the street years ago. I was trying to explain to a motherfucker then, like, why Black Lives Matter. Because it's a dude laying out like roadkill in the middle of the street. That's why. But now all of a sudden, I see a lot of, and I ain't cut you off, I'm sorry. I see a lot of motherfuckers on Facebook or Twitter, whatever, that's talking about some, they making videos talking about some, oh, I just changed my perspective. I never knew what black folk. Motherfucker, I was trying to tell you this shit 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I ain't trying to hear that.
The difference now is I feel like people are scared to get canceled now. Like now, if you say that, people coming at you, like people wasn't really coming at you before you said, people were saying the same thing 4 or 5 years ago, but nobody was saying nothing. Now you say everyone's coming at you and people scared of that now. They don't want to get ambushed by it.
Well, you know what? That's but that's if you go back into history and look at it, people only change when you start messing with the economics of the situation. When you start messing with people money, that's when people change. All this stuff was fine and dandy. Think about the bus boycott, 381 days, and the bus shut down. You know what I'm saying? When we went down in the sanitation workers. When you start messing with people money, it changes people's mind. So when they started firing people for doing dumb stuff, you know, the lady who with the dog and the bird watcher, she's upset. Y'all ruined my life. Well, this dude, put your dog on a leash. You know what I'm saying? And stop calling police officers. But when you mess with her money, you ruin her life. So that's what happened. People realize when you start dealing with that green dollar, it will impact and make people change their mind.
All right, real quick, Ariela, I want you to talk about it because you being, you know, of mixed descent and a woman, can you talk about some of the things you experience and what you notice?
Like on a personal level, I haven't dealt with it as much as a lot of other people. And I think it's just because people, like, you know, it's kind of more behind my back. Like you said, like people just like brother, and then it's just like whatever, you know, once you turn around type of thing. Yeah, I've seen it with other people, like you said, like mentioned, like that, you know, you have to work harder as a Black person to get opportunities. And I believe that too. And I don't know, it's a lot. And like people are really exposing themselves now. And it's just like, wow, well, at least they're finally being honest with who they really are.
Yeah, let it out. Like, let it out. That's what
I don't, like I said, I haven't dealt with it a lot personally. You know, it's like I said, I might have lost bookings just because I'm Black and Italian, but not know it because nobody's going to be like honest and say, well, we're not going to book you because of this, you know? So it's all behind my back. I've never really had anybody come to my face, well, you're Black. No. Like, okay. Like, you know, people are fake. They're not going to say it to you.
They won't say no shit to you in real time. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, they definitely won't. Blake, I want you to talk about it from your seat. You know, being a booker, writer, producer, photographer, agent in a match, you seeing all this stuff. A lot of times it's harder for a Black person to really put their foot down, especially when you're dealing with an idiot like DJ Hyde. You know, can you just talk about it from that perspective?
I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of this stuff ain't different. I mean, it's just spoken out even more because you have people that have a lot of power that can show that they can be some kind of way. So a lot of people play follow the leader, and now they showing what their colors has always been. Like, look, Brian, we didn't been in locker rooms. Quick story of, you know, me, Brian, and our friend Hugh.
Yep.
And, you know, a certain person, I don't even need to say his name, you know, walked in, he see 3 Black people talking about another wrestler of the Black race that made it to the WWE. And what's the first thing he says? You know, oh, yeah, you know, that wrestler, that's one big Black N-word, but try to put an A on it to try to feel like, you know, oh, yeah, this is gonna make them pop, you know, like this will let them know that I'm cool with them. No, it just lets us know who you are. You know, but it's one of those things now, like, you got to read between the lines of a lot of these people, especially in wrestling. And for me, working with so many people backstage, I didn't see a lot of true colors from people before the race stuff. You know, when it was about women being sexually harassed or something and they wanted to stay quiet. But you know, if they in a platform like, you know, one of the bigger TV platforms, if they see one of their TV friends say something, now all of a sudden they want to tell their stories. So you got to look at things like this with some of these people. Some of them are getting educated and some of them do want to learn and some of them genuinely feel bad for what's going on, but don't get it twisted. It's still people that's in there that's like, well, if they see that I donated, that's going to let them know that I'm part of the cause. Don't donate just because you're going to get the clout. Donate because you want to change. You know, it's so many people that do these type of things and they don't want to change. You know why they don't want to change? Because if they have to change, then like we said a couple minutes ago, it affects their money. It affects their stance. And instead of sharing and everybody getting a party on the mountain, now they can't be at the top of the mountain because everybody eating. And in wrestling, a lot of these times, they'll tell you they want to eat. Oh, yeah, Snoop, yeah, when I make it, I'm going to make sure that you get in too. 2 years later, you like, dang, they don't even answer my DM. So, it's one of those things, even with the race, a lot of people are more open to feel like, well, I got to make it like this, this, and this. But then it's a lot of people that's really been wanting to say what they've been wanting to say for years, and they're going to say it, and then they get the backlash, So that's on them. You can pick your poison and do what you want, but karma hits everybody, and that's just what it is.
My thing is, Jon'Tae earlier said that it's a white man's sport. I think about when he said that, it takes me to baseball. Baseball has been predominantly white for years.
Yeah, I'm right here.
But, Glenn and I, we talk about baseball almost every day during the season. And we'll be the first to tell you, I think for me, my favorite player, and I still think to this day, Ken Griffey Jr. is the greatest player ever to play. I also think, I know Glenn's laughing because he thinks Griffey, dibbled in the juice a little bit. But I think Barry Bonds, Willie Mays, I think Jackie Robinson, obviously, and Jackie wasn't even the greatest of the Negro Leagues. He was just the one that he was the safe one. And I look at professional wrestling, The Rock is the greatest entertainer, dare say, one of the greatest entertainers of all time that they let get through. I think about a lot of, everybody on the call. I think, watching y'all matches, skilled and better than, most of the locker rooms that you're in. So I understand, like we say, it's a white man's sport. I agree the way it's portrayed. But I think that if we was able to really dominate the way we want to, we could really show that, hey, black people do this like we do everything else better than our contemporaries. Glenn, I want you to touch on, you being somebody who puts on shows and stuff. What are the chances that you see of coming out of this, of us having our own platform? A lot of things, a lot of conversations. Being here in Baltimore earlier today, there was a crab place that, they found out the owner was racist. And then you had people protesting, where I feel instead of protesting, just don't spend your money there. What are the chances that you see us having more black promoters, black owners of companies? That way, Ariela, Snoop, and Jon'Tae can go wrestle for these feds, put these feds on the map as well.
I mean, I think it can happen. You just gotta have the right person in charge. When you promote, you got to make sure people get paid. I don't care. At the end of the day, you got to make sure people get paid. We
all know that.
But I did. I talked to one of the people I talked to in the wrestling business, and it's all about the green dollar. I know I've been talking about money a lot, but when you're dealing with wrestling, it's all about the money. And people will put aside their feelings and racism and all that for that green. That green dominates any color when they're making that money. So, but, I think it can happen. We just got to have the right pieces in place and got to have the exposure. It's just like the conversation. What if all black athletes went to HBCUs? Where would the money go? Is that conversation. All black wrestlers left WWE or left AEW or left Impact Wrestling and started their own federation. Well, what kind of impact would you have in the world of professional wrestling? Well, let's be honest. When we go to these shows, when you see a lot of African Americans who spend a lot of money, African American kids in the cities they go to who spend money in professional wrestling. So if you took away some of that African American money, took away some of that African American thing, and moved it into a different federation with all African Americans, I think you could do well. But you just got to be able to put on a good product, and and that's the thing. You got to have a good product. Got to have the characters. You got to have the people that people can buy into. But also you can develop those characters. We can see something we ain't never seen. It's today. It's 2020, and we never seen a dude like $1 million. Never seen a black $1 million man character. We never seen somebody like JBL. When the last time an African American guy came in the arena with a limousine, the closest we had was MVP. You know what I'm saying? But you don't see that. And so, when you look at that, I think it depends on how a promoter does it, and also learn the history of wrestling as well. You talk about one of the largest shows ever put on was done by a black booker, Ernie Ladd. When he booked him at Junkyard Dog down in New Orleans, down in Mid-South. And, when you talk about this is a white man's sport, go back and do the history of professional wrestling. They was only allowed one black person in the territory. Some of y'all go to, different events and 2 or 3 or 4 y'all in the room back in the day. That's why you very rarely seen Abdullah the Butcher and Kamala in the same territory. If you go back to the 60s and 70s. So, it was just some rules that was in place. And when these guys from each territory would come together and sit in the back room and smoking room, and they would trade wrestlers like they would trade black people like they were trading slaves. at the end of the day.
Yeah, fact.
And that's true, and that's the true fact. Okay, you know, I got Dog down here in Mid-South. All right, let's send Dog up to the Stampede Wrestling for a minute, and then that's one black guy. We'll send Kamala down to USWA. It's just one of those things. But to your question, it can be done, but the infrastructure had to be put in place, and you know, and that's one of the things. You got to have the wrestlers to do it, and people willing to do the job.
And to the wrestlers, you know, or let me start with the booker first. Blake, from to Glenn's point, what would be your expectations? Obviously, you know, we always expect greatness out of each other. And, you know, I say that with you being here, you know, when we work together at, you know, different companies, you know, you ain't take no half doing. What would you like, you working with a black owner, what are some things that you would sit down and talk to him about?
The first thing I'm going to talk to him is the history. And the second thing I'm going to talk to is, look, you got to understand that it's a perception that people have when it comes to the casual black wrestler. Mm-hmm. If you look at the bigger shows that are on TV, you can have people that are pure D athletes, pure D wrestlers, like coming from college. I'm talking about will chain wrestle the best of them. But if they can't rap or they can't nay-nay, yeah, I said nay-nay, you know, because that's the thought process they're going to have. They're going to be like, well, nay-nay's popular now.
Gotta dance for them.
You know, they're going to look at it and be like, well, what's the entertainment value? You know, mm-hmm. So for me, you know how I am, period. If my name's on something, if you can't give me 100%, I'm not riding with you. That's for every race. That's for everybody. If we in something together, we got to be the best. Yep. So we're going to look at who is the best athletes, who is the best entertainer. If we have social media, who's going to bring the best social media presence? Who's going to be able to talk their way into a main event, but not only just talk, be able to perform so the next show they be like, oh, man, I got to see that Ariela Nyx and see what she do next. We got to have it from the first match all the way to the main event. So everybody in the crowd, they not just coming for one match. They don't just like one person. They got to be like, this Fed as a unit, as one, is what we want to come back and see. And you look at Feds where, like, if you look at, like, the Urban Wrestling Federation, they tried to do years back.
Yep.
Look at that. I mean, that wasn't ran by a black man, you know, but look at the perception that it had to have. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, there were people there that I've worked with that I know don't talk like that. You don't talk like that. And you not in no hoods. Mm-hmm. So why is you on there like, yo, let me tell you what's going on, son? They don't talk like that in the hood either. So the perception would be bring the realness, let you feel the personality that this wrestler is bringing. And whatever you can show me that you want to be the person to take that brass ring, I'm going to give you the opportunity. And if you grab that brass ring, together, we are going to take this company to the top.
Yeah. All right, to the wrestlers, I want to know let's start with Ariela. What would be your expectations from a black promoter, and what would be a conversation you would have? And then we'll go to Jon'Tae and then go to Snoop.
I feel like Blake hit it on the head. Like, you know, you want greatness from everybody. Like, you can't just expect, one person to be good. Like, I love a show when it's like, I'm looking forward to every match. I just want to see, a locker room where everybody can get along. There's no drama. Everybody's supportive of each other, because we don't have that in wrestling either. Everybody's trying to like fight for a spot and stuff like that. And, they'll smile in your face, cut your throat when you're not looking and all that stuff. So like, I would just want to see, everybody have an equal chance at opportunities and just everybody get a chance to kill it.
Yeah.
True. I agree for sure. One of the things that I don't really expect that much, but one thing like what I wish would come back like during shows is like the emotion. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like in every show, like every match should have like a different emotion and whatnot. And then it feels like every match is like the same. So like I think like sometimes promoters got to cut down on they talent. Like, listen, bro, like this is what we want to do. This is the direction that we're going. All right. try not to make sure like y'all not doing everything else that everybody else is doing, because if that's the case, we just a one-trick pony out here. We look like the rest of these indies out here, and I'm not trying to do that. But it also falls on like the performers and stuff like that too. Like personally, like myself, you know what I'm saying? I can't sit here and half-ass anything. I don't like looking like nobody else. I like to do like the craziest shit just to stand out, whatever. I feel like everybody should have that mindset, because it only just makes the show better anyway, when everybody wants to go out there and kill it, like you said. You know what I mean? Like if everybody has that mentality that we're not working against each other, but we're working like with each other, you know what I'm saying? That's just more money for everybody, really. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can eat if everybody got that mindset. So yeah, I agree. I feel.
Before Snoop talks, I want to add on to something that Jon'Tae just said. So we all watch cartoons. Like we've seen cartoons since we was kids.
Right.
And this is what, like, I really want to bring this as an example of like my style of booking and then how stuff happens. So like Jon'Tae was saying, you got to think about it like this. We've all seen The Road Runner. We've all seen Speedy Gonzales, and we've all seen Bugs Bunny, right? We're talking about 3 of the fastest animals in the world that always outsmart their competitors, right? But out of those 3, the most popular is Bugs Bunny. You know why? Because Bugs Bunny takes his time and explains the story of how he's going to outdo his competitor, where everybody else just snap, 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 boom, the episode is over. And that's how wrestling is sometimes. It's so go, 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 go. We not watching. That about time you get to match 3, if you in the crowd, you huffing and puffing and you're tired.
You feel me?
Be Bugs Bunny, people. Be Bugs Bunny.
That's real. That's some real shit, though. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like everybody just wants to do all these spots and all this, and like the fans are not going to remember all that. And it's just, like you said, it's just so much in the beginning, and it's just like, I don't know. Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm not gonna lie, like I had that problem, you know, like I'm still learning. That's one thing about wrestling. Like you always learn something like every day, because the business constantly evolves, it constantly changes. Something always new happens. You never really know like what the hell is really new, because something new always happens. So it's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? You just gotta constantly. It's like you gotta constantly like reinvent yourself, but you also got. I think Triple A says it like perfect to me. Like he said, you can't go in there playing wrestle. Like you got to know like what you're doing. You know what I mean? You got to actually know like who you are. Like if this is put 100% effort in, and the wrestle like really follow. Because if you go out there and you playing like, and you acting like you don't want to be there, like the people gonna notice that before anything else. You know what I'm saying? That's just like when you blow it. That's just like if you blow a spot and then you like, oh shit, now what I do? No, but if you like know what you're doing, you take your time, then you can go on to the next thing. You can just figure that out like throughout the match.
100%.
Bring the energy.
Agreed.
Yep, Snoop.
So yeah. So basically, the question is, what I'll be looking for in a black promoter.
Now, what would your expectations be?
Yeah, my expectation basically be like a combination of what everyone said. Like, I'm not really looking like anything specific. I just want everybody to be treated equally and like given a chance to show what they got, and like no favoritism, not like even just race, but like name wise. Like I just want the booker to pit the best people in the positions to show what they got. Like the best wrestlers are showcased. Like not just because this person's a name, but he ain't really doing nothing. He just there because he a name. Like fit the best people in the positions. Like give everybody a chance to show what they can do. Yeah. That's the only thing I really look for.
Yeah, and
that's real.
So I gotta ask y'all this question. When you out there and you going from, because obviously, you know, for the wrestlers, you going from different fed from this city to that city. How often do you see people of color backstage in a booking position or even an interviewing position?
It's not a lot.
I see a lot of.
I've been seeing a lot of interviewers, but not a lot of bookers. Maybe like 2 or 3, maybe. But I do see people like in the interview and the media side.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing. Like I see a lot of like interviews, but not really like that many bookers. Not like that. No.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm here, guys.
And I was
That's why I'm glad we on this call. You can meet somebody new. That's what's up, man.
Exactly.
Shout out to a black booker. That's what's up.
Yes.
and Blake, for
Hold it
you,
down.
has there ever been like, have you been able to meet fellow black bookers that maybe you can, obviously in any business, you meet other people, you go to them for advice, you exchange information and ideas. This actually, how Glenn and I met. He was, he had a podcast, I had a podcast, we talked, became the best of friends. Have you been able to have there been any other black bookers or even owners of company that you've been able to talk to?
No. There's been backstage personnel that's been around the business for a long time that you could talk to, but bookers, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I learned how to book from 3 different people, and one of them was black, and that was Ruckus. Ruckus, Derek Frazier, Robbie Marino, Sarah Del Rey, and Adam Flash. So I was blessed to learn from some of the most knowledgeable people ever. But as you can see, only one of them was black, and he had a different style than all of them, But the good thing about stuff like that is it's like Captain Planet. I just combined all those powers and made Captain Planet. It helped me be the person that I am. So, if that means, I can be known as one of the only black bookers and producers and agents and photographers, blah, 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 then so be it. I'll take it on. I don't care. Give it to me. I make people better. Look at my facts. Look at my resume. Holla at me.
And that's the thing.
Shout out to you, man, because I don't hear that a lot. Though. I don't really hear shit like that from I hear a lot of black workers, obviously, but I don't really hear black bookers that just be behind the scenes, just actually want to create something for somebody else. Stuff like that. So that's what's up. That's dope.
Yeah. Well, and this is the thing too. And I know we're gonna get to it, but I do have to say this. This is what kind of upsets me when I go on social media and people are like, black wrestlers aren't you're not gonna book me. Black wrestlers matter. Black wrestlers matter. You do, but there are black people in wrestling that matter. I'm here to make you look better. People like Yolanda, the designer, has been designing gear for some of the best people in the world. She matters. Yeah, Cesaro, Drew Gulak. Do I got to keep going on? I don't want to have to keep going on. You got people like Jay Lee Photography, another group of photographers. We all do our best to make everybody look better. And for me, I'm giving you my blood, sweat, and tears. And a lot of the times, I put my goals to make it to the top. I put that under making sure you make it to the top. So people, stop with this whole black wrestlers matter and put it as in black people in wrestling matter. Because that shit is offensive to me. That shit is real offensive to me. That shit makes my heart hurt because there are numerous people on TV. Some of them are world champions right now. Some of them will be on pay-per-views that will be coming on tomorrow. Some of them are on Wednesdays. They're on ROH. They're on Impact. And guess what? Without my guidance, who's to say they wouldn't have had that responsibility to want to change to be the person they are? So, for now on, can we please say black people in wrestling matter? Thank you.
Absolutely. And
there it is.
Referees too.
Referees too.
Yes,
Referees. Photographers.
Glad you said it from that perspective. Like I said, there's not a lot of black bookers, so we never heard that perspective of it. So I respect
That's
that.
from the heart, man, because
I've been waiting for this to wake up. Get it.
It puts you in a depression. When you see so many people make it and you still here and you still the one struggling and you help those people and then they either silent or they can't even come out their breath and even mention your name, that shit hits you in the heart. It makes you want to quit. But what makes you keep going is saying, I can teach the next student. That's why I teach at MCW, because I want that next black person, that less Latino, whatever race you are. I want them to make it and be proud of them and actually pray that they'll be like, man, without this guy, I don't know where I would be at. Stop doing that in wrestling, people. Stop it, please.
Yeah.
Glenn,
absolutely.
I want you to talk about it from a lot of what Blake just said. and the reason why is because you're always, and anybody knows Glenn knows he always try to look at things from the bigger picture. Always try to have the positive light on things. I know I could be a positive person, but usually if I'm down, whether it's in something about wrestling or something personal, this is the person I go to. This is one of my, and I'll say it right here on air. This is one of my therapists unofficially, and and it's not just because he's counselor as a shoot. But I know that he's always going to keep it real, especially from a spiritual perspective, but also a real perspective, And I want you to touch on a lot of, piggyback off what Blake's just said.
No, I think it's your upbringing. Sometimes being the way I was brought up was you work hard. Your gift will make room for you. You know what I'm saying? You keep helping people. Your gift to make room for you and put you before great men and put you in a place where you need to be at. So you continue to do your thing. Somebody will find you. Somebody will deal with you. And then also putting yourself in positions that you can be found. There's some jobs that nobody want to do, but you go ahead and do it. There's some bookings nobody want to take that you go ahead and take. Or there's some shows nobody else want to work on. Guess what? We talk about being the best on the card or having great matches on the card. So what? If you're the first match on the card, make that match the best match. Make everybody try to follow you. You know what I'm saying? You got to make people follow you. So wherever they put you at on the card, you set the bar high. If they give you one match to book, okay, I'm booking that match like it's the main event at WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? If I'm running a show, I'm promoting that show. I'm going down to, if I got to pass out flyers on a Friday night at a high school football game, if I got to pass out you know what I'm saying, if I got to be on every radio station here to the moon, I'm putting it out. So, like Blake said, you putting your best foot forward, and you want somebody to, be able to help you and bring you up, and you want to be able to get the credit for where you was at and what you did for people. But I just come to life to realize that some people ain't gonna remember you. Some people don't remember where they came from or how they got there, and the thing that you told them to tweak this or tweak that and fix this, and that's the reason they got booked, because they tweaked this and tweaked that. But also, ain't nothing wrong with saying thank you.
That's it.
There's nothing wrong with saying thank you, giving somebody a good thanks, giving them kudos while they're alive. And I think that's the key. I think with us, even in this movement that's going on with African Americans, it's not that we want a handout. We just want you to recognize that we've been done wrong. And that's the issue. It's not that nobody wants to. We're not getting the 40 acres in a meal, so that's not going to happen. Okay, that's never going to happen. But I want people just want. I want you to recognize that. The crap that you're doing, the underlining stuff that you've done is wrong. And guess what? We're going to have to deal with it. And when people are out there blatant with it, call a spade, and we move on. You know who to deal with. You know what promotions to go to, don't go to. I get tired of sometimes you hear any wrestlers, man, so-and-so stiff me, they ain't pay me. Stop going back to them. How many times you got to keep going to the same person, they ain't pay you. You only got to not pay me one time, and I'm not coming back to your promotion. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one of the things. You keep saying the same song over and over again. And I think that's where we are, even in this pandemic and this movement as African Americans in professional wrestling and life. Stop singing the same song and change the narrative, change the song. And the only person that's able to do that is you, as us. And if that means starting a solid African American federation, hey, let's go find a booker. Or let's find somebody with money. Let's find somebody there's a lot of African Americans out there. I'm just a firm believer. Everybody was a wrestling fan once in their lifetime. I don't care who it is. Billionaire was a wrestling fan. AEW got Tony Khan. Let's find out Tony. Not settle for just anything, but set the bar high for yourself.
Yeah. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my speaker went out. And one of the things when you guys were talking, it made me wonder how effective, anybody jump on this, how effective y'all think we could be because I'm on social media a lot, and I see so many talented Black wrestlers that's just on the indies alone that's not given their fair shot, or even some of the ones that's just coming up and they just have that natural ability. They just need somebody, a veteran, to kind of help them. They're raw and they just need that little extra help. How effective do you think we could be if we did start our own? If we said, if we, like Glenn said, we got stiff by, let's just say you guys get stiff by somebody and you say, you know what, we're not going to work there. We're going to all bond together as a unit. How effective do you think this could be? Or do we have the crab in the barrel mentality that you think somebody's going to try to, excuse my language, be the good Black person and not do it?
That's the problem. Like it's hard to get everybody to stand up for one thing. That's why this is good right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the movement is happening the way it is, because everybody's actually doing something. we got power in numbers, but it's hard to do anything if everyone's not working together because there's more of them than it's us. So if we don't work together, then the shit's hard. So yeah,
It is. I think what you said there, Snoop, that was great. It is hard when everybody's not working together. And I look at the crab in the barrel as different. You think about the crab that's in the barrel. That crab is trying to get out, right? Because he doesn't want to get eaten. The water's getting hot. I'm from Maryland, so I know what crab's about, right? So eating a lot of them. But that crab is in there. And the crab that's grabbing hold to him, he's not really trying to pull him down. He's trying to latch on because he know that crab that's above him is trying to get out. And that's the problem is when somebody's trying to grab behind us, we think they're trying to pull us down. In essence, they want to go where you're going, and they just don't know how to get there. And so we got to start looking at that. You know what? We're having a conversation. Okay, if you want to get out, let's all of us grab each other and pull each other out. Instead of thinking somebody's trying to pull you down, they're trying to go where you try to go.
It's like the chain in Us, It's like make the chain in Us, like the movie Us was what I'm referring to. But yeah, I think Glenn and Snoop both hit it on the head. And it's just like anything. You can get 25 people involved, but a lot of the time, as history shows, only 23 of them will be on board. So if the other two aren't on board, slowly but surely, it hurts all 23, and then things start to get sour.
Yeah.
So it just like that's why, like Snoop said, it is good to what's like how you're seeing everybody join together now. Like, and then you even see people that know they have a white privilege and they've been speaking up like crazy. Like if I go on Twitter, like I look at people like Quinn McKay and like Aspen Rose, I'm like every 5 minutes they like, oh yeah, just to remind y'all, we using this as a good platform. Just to remind, and they are so thorough with it. And it's like, damn, like this is beautiful, So it all depends on, you got to have trust in this will work for all of us. It's just like the mentality like with AEW, where from the beginning they've told you like, this is about us, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. And only time will tell if that is 100%. You can be the judge. Whatever you think it is right now is what it is. Everybody's going to have different opinions, whether they're working together, whether it's a bad app or not. But that's with anything, especially in entertainment.
Yeah. I want to move forward to, we've seen a lot of posts on social media. We've seen a lot of positive posts. We've seen some idiots posting All Lives Matter. We've seen some idiots posting their support for the number 45. I want to know what's y'all thoughts like when y'all start seeing these, and just in general, who've been some people, feel free to shoot or feel free not to. Who've been some of y'all, the people that y'all been disappointed in, and people that you've been surprised by, whether it's good or bad?
Somebody brought up Jericho earlier. He's another one. He's one of the first ones. All Lives Matter. He had Trump Jr. on his show, so I can't say I'm surprised by him at this point. And he has a lot of bad raps coming out recently, so But of course, he's one of the heads of AEW, so nothing's gonna happen.
I don't fuck with Jericho, dog. Simply because of that bull. Like I was more so hurt because, like, honestly, like I was born in the 90s, so Jericho's my childhood. I grew up watching Jericho. So to see him, like, that was more so disappointing because you see one of the dudes that you like grew up watching, idolized, whatever, kind of even like your style is even like his in a way. So you like, damn, like that's how you really feel? Like, and bro, you from Canada. Like, what the fuck? But whatever.
From what are you talking about though? Like talking about when he had Trump Jr. on the podcast? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, when bro was talking about I think he had he said something about All Lives Matter on one of his on his IG.
Yeah,
I'm like,
replied to somebody's comment.
And I'm like, really, G? So that kind of it fucked me up a little bit because, like I said, like Jericho was like an idol of mine. And to see one of your idols like basically saying like fuck black people, all lives matter. You know what I'm saying? That's like
it's the new hate speech, There's no doubt about it. It's the new hate speech.
That's all it is, and it hurt for sure. But now I'm on the tip where it's just like I don't really rock with Jericho anyway. You know what I mean? Like that's disappointing, bro. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like Jericho's in the position to where like a lot of black wrestlers look up to Jericho. So he, you know what I'm saying? So for him to even do that, that definitely let us down, though. Like, we look up to Jericho.
Yeah, I love Jericho too. So it's like you said, you just.
Honestly, I haven't seen the post you talking about, so I can't really I can't speak on that part of it because I didn't see it. So
shit, G, I got that shit screenshot. I send it to you, G. Like, I send it to you, G.
I'm gonna tell you who I was surprised by. I was surprised by Randy Orton. Now, Blake and Glenn know
in a good way. Like,
I was blocked by him. Around time, Alton Sterling and Flandel Castle, and it's a shame that I know these names and know the exact time when this happened. That just shows you that this stuff happens too much and it happens too often. But when they died, he had tweeted something like, "Pigmentation of skin doesn't matter. Americans are getting killed." Now, I've read that two ways. I read it as, you're not saying that they're black people, they're American. But I also read that as a tone deaf to the fact that black people were being killed in this country. So I just, quote tweeted, I just replied, that's upsetting. Next thing you know, block button. So usually, when you run multiple Twitter accounts, if somebody got to block me, they got to block me from 4 other accounts. This is that simple. So when I saw that he was really tweeting a lot of Black Lives Matter, I heard my buddy David Shealy, award-winning journalist out of Tennessee, told me that he went in the locker room and apologized. You would know, if you got, I don't know if anybody else has heard the same thing, but to see, his stance on social media, that was a surprise to me.
I think because people got to see it. I mean, he saw the life. I think we live in a world where reality TV and everybody watching SVU marathons and stuff like that. They don't realize that a life is taken. You ain't gonna see him on another episode or on another show, but when you actually see a life taken, and think about this. And then in this day and age, our grandparents, when somebody brought up their grandparents, great grandparents, if you're from the South, you saw African American dude hanging on the tree. They left him out there as an example for the rest of you to get in line, or that would be you. Or you saw in the 60s where African Americans were getting bit by dogs and water hoses was putting on them. See, this is one of the modern day things that people saw, and it changed a lot of people's mind because, dang, how could you be that cruel to a person, to a human being in general? And how you be that cruel to a human being who's crying for his mama, who's asking for his mother, who's telling you he can't breathe, and yet we see you apply more pressure. So that the humanity of the fact that people saw this is what's coming out now. People always say, I don't see color. That's a bunch of crap because you see color.
Yeah, don't say that.
Color. You see color.
So,
everything in life, you see color. You see color at the stoplight. You see color at the grocery store.
It's just, do you want to acknowledge the color?
I always say that. I always how do you gonna sit here and say you don't see color? So what the hell you do when you stop at a damn stop sign or it's traffic light or whatever? You know what I'm saying? When the light turns green or something
I got something to say about the all lives matter thing.
Go ahead.
So I seen something today. So if all the people that saying all lives matter, if all lives matter, then why are you not upset about this too? If all lives matter, then and you don't see color, don't you see an innocent person getting killed for no reason that wasn't doing anything?
Right.
Do you not see forget the color, you see an innocent person right there that ain't did nothing and he just got killed by the police. And you're not upset?
Right. And
why are you not upset?
Exactly. Like, why are y'all not upset like how we upset? Like, when every time, if there's so many white killings when it comes to cops and stuff like that, how come y'all not out there protesting and rioting and all this other stuff? Why not doing that shit then? Because it's not likely that shit happens. And what irritates me too is what black on black crime happens every day. Well, you know what happens when black on black crime happens? Like, Snoop, say I did something to you, bro. I'm gonna go to jail.
You going to jail?
Something's gonna happen to me, G. You feel me?
But you know what? I looked that up though. You know what? People always say black on black crime. Do you know in the last 20 years, black on black crime has decreased tremendously? See,
you feel
and
me?
Even
when you look at the numbers,
black on black crime is wrong. But even if that does not give you a reason to kill somebody just because the other person killed somebody. It's well, I killed him because he killed somebody. That doesn't make it right.
Right.
You're still killing someone. It's not right.
It's just a way for white people to sit here and literally say, well, why I can't kill you? Well, what's wrong with that?
Exactly.
What's wrong with that?
I think one
Y'all
of the
kill
things
each
I've
other,
been,
so I can't kill you.
one of the things I've been most disappointed in with a lot of these companies' posts is one, the Martin Luther King speeches. They quick to quote Martin Luther King, but the one thing they're not quoting is when he said he want to judge people by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. So that's one thing that's been highly disappointing. Just to be, it's like the go-to. It's like the I'm not racist because my best friend is black, or my neighbors. I've had 5 black people in my house.
Or they talk about like Martin Luther King peacefully protesting when all the riots and stuff.
And that's
He
another
got
thing.
shot. He got killed still. Like
He still caught one in the neck.
exactly. So it's not either way.
And see, and they tell that story wrong because think about it. He went down to Memphis, to the sanitation workers, gave a speech, right? The next day he was assassinated. So it's not like it was a week. It was the next day after his last speech, he was assassinated. So it's not that, and most of what the pictures they like to show, every protest that he marched on, it was peaceful from the people protesting, but it wasn't peaceful by the police officers spraying water hoses and letting dogs loose. See, so therefore
that's what's happening now.
And so the protest itself, but yet you created the chaos within the
reaction.
protest.
They just want the reaction, and that's all they're gonna go off of. They don't care about why it happened. They just gonna care about what we did to retaliate.
Exactly. It's a setup.
Well, and the other big thing is too, when it comes to the Martin Luther King stuff, it's the easiest to research. So a lot of people it's just like a Bruce Lee quote. Like I grew up on Bruce Lee and I can quote everything, but guess what? You can find every quote that I can quote the easiest. These people can't find a Huey Newton quote, so it is what it is.
It's a reason.
It's
a reason. I ain't cut you. I'm sorry, but it's a reason white folks love MLK more than Malcolm X. It's a reason for shit like that.
Non-violent.
You know what I'm saying? And then like they get that misconstrued too, because like, bro, like, yeah, MLK was more like just like on the peaceful side, but like he had a turning point. He was like, when shit got too crazy, it was like, well, maybe Malcolm may be on to something a little bit. So don't act like Martin wasn't with the shits. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm trying to get people to realize. He was with it at the point.
100%. And like one of the things I wanted to say too, is we were talking about things that people have put. I'm not going to bring up something that disappointed me. I want to say something about the Jericho thing too, but I want to talk about this first. One of the posts that hit me really hard was Brandy Rhodes' post. Now with Brandy, is everybody familiar with her post?
No, what was it?
Okay, so long story short, in her post, she basically talked about how she didn't feel accepted by her own and how she's had to deal with a lot of things. And a lot of people took it as, oh my gosh, why are you making this about you? This is not the time. Why are you talking about how your own kind hurt you? Yada, 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 da, 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 da. And basically, she was forced to delete the post and she got roasted. Now, 2 things. Was it the right time to say it? No. But for me, it hit me so hard because I've been called 3 different racial slurs in my life for 3 different, nationalities, and I've been told, you're too white to be around here, or you're too black to be around here. I've sat in locker rooms where it was a group of us as black people all telling the story of how another black person is purposely holding them down and not letting them get to the top and letting them shine. And from what I read from the post was a lot of pain that somebody like me, I've dealt with it and worse. And the only thing I can think of while all these people were roasting her, and I remember I was talking to Brian I was trying to reach out to people to be like, yo, this ain't about getting a job for me. Anybody that knows me, if I pull my hand out to you, it's to help you. What I thought about was, how could I get a chance to talk to this woman and be like, yo, this has happened to me too. And the pain that you're showing is happening to so many people. How can I help you no longer have this scar no more and release those feelings and know that you are educated. Because look, as Black people, one of the worst backhanded comments you can ever get is, you know what? You're like one of those like educated Black people. It's easy to talk to you. You're not like the rest of them.
Yeah, you
What the
don't
hell does
talk
that
like
mean?
you're Black. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
What you
yeah, like
Yeah.
you always like that is one of the worst backhanded comments you can get. And I've had people that have texted me and be like, hey, I'm sorry you've been through all of this. And I'm like, what are you apologizing for? No offense, but if you're Black, you have a story. It's like riding a bike. You know, like every Black person has a story. So that was the one that hit me hard. And as for the Jericho thing, I looked at that in two different ways. A, you can look at it as an ignorance, but B, you can also look at it and go, who has really educated this person on explaining what that term really means? Yes, you might think it means something, but how many stories has this man heard from any of his Black colleagues or people, his friends or whatever, that can explain to him, look, let me explain to you why this is wrong. And who's to say after that happened, because I am pretty sure it happened, who's to say when he went and donated, did he really mean it or did he not? Because his whole thing could have changed, but that's only up to the man that he looks at himself in the mirror. Only he knows the answer. You know, so that's the way I look at that. But yeah, that's my two things that hit me pretty deep.
I'll tell you what hit me well, man, and I think, you know, we talked about bad things, but good things. Titus O'Neil, man, I got to give it off to Titus.
Titus is such a good dude.
Titus has been doing a lot, even prior to this.
Oh, yeah.
Titus,
he's always been.
He's always been out there giving back, even with you know, him and Dave Bautista when they was doing it and when they was talking. I know that Brian is not a big, he got blocked from him too. but
damn, Brian, you got blocked by Big Dave too.
Hey, man, fooling.
You know, but nah, you know, even with Dave Bautista and the police officers, they had their press conference about a week ago, and Titus even. Earlier this week, Titus coming out, you know, just telling people to get together, get your mind right, basically, get your mind right, get your heart right. And you know, and that's one thing I like about him. He's activist. If he doesn't wrestle another day in the WWE, he's already done enough in the community. I see Titus, one of those guys, being a politician. You know, I think he'd run for the mayor of Tampa right now and actually win. You know, because of everything that he has done for that city, for that community. It's good to see him do things. You know what? And I know we may not. It's good to see that the WWE is allowing their wrestlers to have a voice. You know, nobody wants to get on the backlash of that, and nobody wants to get on the back end of that. And I don't know if you guys heard of anybody else seen, but I haven't heard any statement from the WWE whatsoever.
They put out their generic statement.
Man, they put out some
a couple of
bullshit.
days ago. Yeah.
Okay.
They put out some bullshit.
You know, my thing is with all this is I'm fine with the statements, but the moment you start talking about protesting, then it's like, oh, just make sure you do it peacefully. No, shut up. I personally believe, and me and my wife was having this conversation with our pastor, and on a Zoom call, like a young adult Zoom call, I'm not going to say that I believe in riots, but I don't think that's the issue. And I do know good things have come from riots. Blake, I'm going to steal yours.
Steal it.
Boston Tea Party.
The Boston Tea Party.
You know, the riots of 68, we got civil rights.
Yeah, the Civil Rights Act. Everybody talks about MLK, but they don't talk about how the riots right after he was killed, and the Civil Rights Act was like a week after he was killed or something like that. So
like I said, like I don't.
The riot that took place in the city. What was it? Back in '67, out here. Like, come on, bro. Like,
so I'm not saying, oh yeah, let's go riot. I'm not one to incite a riot. However,
sometimes it's needed.
Sometimes it's needed, but when you're addressing these statements, I want you to focus on blacks getting killed. Look at Ben and Jerry's. Everybody should just look at them. They have the best statement out there.
The MVP.
In white supremacy.
Everybody got to buy Ben and Jerry's for the rest of their life.
Look, not to cut everybody off, but look, Ben and Jerry's Netflix and chill is the greatest ice cream of all time. Just saying.
So that's my thing is don't go out there when you put out these statements and you say, yeah, we believe in racial equality, but please stop rioting and tearing up people's stuff. No, because that's what you really wanted to say.
Reason.
You just using the Black Lives Matter hashtag to jump aboard, you know. So
exactly.
And I appreciate those who are still posting about it, you know, not just doing it on Tuesday during Blackout Day. You know, because clearly we saw what Drew Brees did. Yeah, he posted a picture, and then he was asked the question and told everybody how he really felt. So that's where I'm with that.
But you know, that's the thing in society. People can't separate the two. They can't separate the flag. It's nothing to deal with the flag. It's not about the flag. It's about the brutality, and I think that's what people lose the message that they so caught up on the cloth, the red, white, and blue flag. And I said it for like I am a military kid. My dad did 30 years in the Army, so I said I've been around Army bases all my life. You know what I'm saying? So from saying that is not about the flag, it's about police brutality. It's about the fact that people are dying. It's about the fact that people can fight. You know, Drew Brees talked about his grandfather and great grandfather fought in the war. Well, there were some black people who came back, didn't get recognized. You fought for their own freedom and then came back. It wasn't even free. You know what I'm saying?
That's
and fought for Vietnam and fought stuff like that and couldn't get a job. You know. Yeah. And not recognized as a war hero. You recognize as a bum on the street. So, you know, when he talks about all the people who fought in wars and his grandfather, yeah, well, guess what? They fought alongside a lot of African Americans that don't even get recognized for their fighting in wars.
Yeah, I was gonna say, jump off what you were saying too. Like, my biggest problem, like you're saying, you know, be peaceful, no riots or whatever. But these are the same people that are complaining about Kaepernick because he took a knee. It's like, you know, you complain when it's peaceful, you complain when it's riot. It's like, make up your mind. You know?
Yeah, you can't tell people how to react after they've been getting done wrong time after time after time.
How many times have we been peaceful? And it's just like, no,
we tried.
Exactly.
You know, we tried.
These weeks later, everybody forget about it.
These are the same people that's complaining about the protests and the riots, but they were just up here in our state capital up in Lansing that was mad because we had to be out.
Can't go outside.
Because we can't go to because we can't go to Applebee's.
Exactly.
So we can't
with
do shit
guns,
like that.
with AKs,
and
everything.
they attack the cops and
everything.
It's like I saw like the videos where they were attacking the cops, and I'm like, imagine if black people tried to do that.
Right.
We all would have been killed
and
arrested for the rest of our lives.
You would have
dead. We'd have been dead.
That's Applebee's. Like, and they can attack cops with guns. I'm like, wow.
But you know,
Applebee's ain't even that good.
You feel me?
Hey, them
they was mad because they couldn't go to Applebee's. They out here armed, bro. I'm talking about they got AKs. They out here. They going sick. Like, what? Nah.
Imagine they riot when their sports team win or loses. You know, it's you know,
but you know what's crazy?
Standard.
What's crazy? Right there in Michigan, Flint still ain't got clean water. Ain't nobody rioting about that. You know,
and it's been 5 years, something like that.
5 years.
Look,
I don't understand that.
Trump was just out here in the city. Trump was just out in Michigan, like what, a few days ago. And like you said, Flint still ain't got no water. He skipped right through that motherfucker. He went right through.
He did.
Oh, he ain't
went
going
right
over
through
there.
where his friends is at, up in Lansing.
Yeah, you know, that's crazy. One thing about the NFL, you talk about Kaepernick. The problem with the NFL was they didn't have enough supporters. They're supporting the Kaepernick. The rest of them guys wanted
everybody didn't want to stand up.
Everybody wanted to stand up, and everybody wanted their money. Now you hear all the guys, and I know they got the video out now, and that's fine and dandy. You know, I'm the biggest thing I want to see, and out of all the people that was in that video, I want to see Ezekiel Elliott take a knee because Jerry Jones said a Cowboy player would never take a knee. He won't be a Cowboy. So Ezekiel Elliott was one of the first ones in the video. Let's see what Ezekiel Elliott does this year during the football season.
Well, he got guaranteed money now, though. Remember, around the time he was still in his rookie contract.
But if the cause means that much, if the cause means that much to you,
bingo,
right?
Bingo.
You'll lose the money. If the cause meant that much to you, there would have been more people taking a knee in the NFL. Guess what? If everybody on the team would have took knees on the NFL, guess what? The NFL would have gave in.
That's the NFL. If everybody of all the black people would have did, that's the whole damn NFL. You can't do nothing.
Right. Like you said earlier, power in numbers, and everybody has to be in it together. You know, like what you mentioned before, like if it's 25 and only 23 are in, that it starts to hurt everybody else. So, like you said, if
insert black person here. If one or two people do it, insert black person here, and they'll just keep it moving.
And be consistent.
You got to do it together.
But now everybody looks like they want to be consistent. If you go back to the NBA with Michael Gardner, everybody was wearing the "Don't Breathe" shirts. How long did that last?
Eric Garner,
right? Yeah. Eric Garner. You know, how long did that last? You know, if Kobe did it, LeBron kept doing it, more teams start doing it. Matter of fact, Nike even flipped it, and Nike was like, you know what we can do? We can give y'all uniforms with hoods on it. How many people really realize that hood? That's where the hood came from.
Damn.
And Nike made money off it, right? You forgot about the fact now everybody got hoods on their uniforms.
Everybody got hoods now.
And you don't know even what that is for Trayvon Martin anymore.
That's where it came from. Damn.
That's where it came for. So see how corporate America flips it on you, and that you even forget the movement or the cause that you're doing just so they can capitalize on it. You know?
And that's why I feel like I dig the fact that a lot of us went out and was like, you know what, fuck the booking, because it's way more important than the booking. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like if I've been blackballed before, so I don't really give a shit. So honestly, like, cause it's way deeper than just wrestling anyway, bro. And that's what I be trying to tell folks, like, dog, like if I miss out on the booking because I want to stand up for like what's right, like, oh well, I wasn't meant to have that book in the first place.
Yeah.
Right.
Why would you want to work at a place like that anyway? That's
I
what
want to know what y'all think about
it. I'm like,
I want to know what y'all think about Joey Ryan.
What did he say?
About if a black person was blackballed because of speaking out about the racial injustice, that pretty much he got you.
I see where it goes.
Yeah, I feel like he means well. I guess some people would say like you should be booking black people before that, but I think Joey means well with it. Like I don't think he had that intent. Like, oh, I'm just gonna profit or whatever on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a safe.
I'm a hope that he got good intentions with it, because like, everything is just like at this point where it's just like it's so cool. Like I was talking about earlier, it's real cool to jump on the bandwagon when you don't want to get exposed for how you really. I ain't gonna say I never met the dude, so I don't know him. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how he is. I don't know how he rock or whatever. But like, I just hope his intentions is good, because all I'm saying is this is not the time to be playing with black folks. Like, period. Yeah. So if you
I know, like I've met Joey. We've been on a couple shows together. Like he's cool people. But like all I want to say is like if you put it out there, let's say 2-3 months from now when things are regular, just stick to it. Let's see you actually do it. Don't put it out there and don't stick to it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because if you do it, put the black folks on that's been like going hard, that hasn't been getting opportunities. I'm gonna sit here and say it. Me. Yes.
He's trying to get himself over.
That's what you're supposed to be. That's what this platform is for.
I ain't gonna lie. Why we got here, right? To be real, right? We gonna be real. So I'm gonna say, like, if that's the case, if your heart's in the right place, motherfucker, I'm right here.
Yeah, I saw a few people respond to his tweet with black people that did get that, or told, like on the low, don't say anything or whatever, don't ruin your opportunities. And people tweeted it to Joey. So let's see if he does bring them in. Hopefully he does.
Has anybody on this call had a threat?
No.
You saw my screen. Some weirdo, like, so apparently he's a real weirdo. Like, he sent me a DM, like, just, be discreet because you don't want to, like, lose an opportunity. And I'm like,
yeah, I saw that mess.
Yeah, Joey actually liked that tweet, so hopefully I'm on his list too to book.
and PS2 is somebody that's worked with Joey, and I mean, I ain't gonna say me and Joey are like best friends, but we are really cool and all that. And I'm just going to say it would break my heart if he wasn't genuine. But from what I do know of Joey, like, look, Joey is not afraid to make his own money the best way he can. So I really think that he is genuine with this. He's not marketing off of it because
I agree.
He already got his money. So that's my I think when I read that, I think he is genuine. But like I say, it's 2020. Somebody can call me right now and be like, yo, did you go to Vegas? Like, did you see in Vegas there's aliens out there? I'll be like, all right, cool. Well, what's for dinner Sunday? Because it's 2020.
Yeah.
Like anything can happen.
Just stick to it. Everybody can put it out there. Just stick to it.
Yeah, I think he's pretty genuine, but I didn't mean to.
I've known Joey, like you said, we're not like best friends, but I met Joey from before I was like training, and he's always been like a good gentleman.
I think we talk about that's assuming if wrestling shows, indie shows get back to where they were before the pandemic.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest. That's the biggest thing.
I think it's definitely gonna be a different scene either way. Like between the pandemic and everything else, it's like.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like
to see.
The indies definitely about to be on a whole different, like, it's definitely going to be different now because we not, like I said, we not playing that shit no more. Like, if you racist, then, hey, you either, it's going to be like two things going to happen to you. You're going to get exposed or you're going to get your ass whooped. One of the two.
Yep.
You feel me? And that's just how it is nowadays because I
You
ain't
ready
gonna
to
lie.
shoot?
I've been tired, bro. I've been tired for years. I ain't been told to shut up. I ain't been told don't say nothing. Like you're not even a big enough name to be talking like this anyway. I'm like, I don't give a fuck how many names I got. Like if it's wrong, it's wrong, bro. Period.
Exactly.
You know,
If it's wrong, it's wrong.
if it's wrong, it's wrong.
Exactly.
My big thing is this too, just really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Look, if you was on the come up and you was about the culture, but then now all of a sudden you quiet when you made it on a platform, you wasn't really about the culture in the first place. Don't use it to be cool. Because
Yeah, this is not a fashion trend, you know. It's not a
it's
trend.
definitely
It's a real
not,
thing.
you know?
And that's my only problem. Like, don't make it a trend. And it looks so trendy now. That's why I've been saying, like, okay, I just been sitting back and observing like a lot of people. I'm just like, where's all this coming from? You know what I'm saying? Like, all right.
Because that's the thing too. Like, I've seen some people, and I know some of these people where they're like, "Oh, if I don't get a booking, F that booking," and they're making it like they was about being black. And I'm like, bruh, if I was one of these petty dudes, I would be telling these stories about how you were ashamed to be black. So don't jump on it because you think it's going to get you a booking. And P.S. to this exact person, you're not getting bookings anyway because you're kind of a bum. So it doesn't mean your color. It just means you're kind of a bum.
That's reality, though.
That's real shit. Because I've been on this. And when I first got in the business, I was already hip. I was already like, I know how this shit gonna go, but I'm not gonna sit here and play into it. The first time I experienced racism in the business, bro, I was in Alabama, bro. And it was about the fans. Obviously, I'm in Alabama, right? So, you know what I'm saying? But I was in Alabama and it's by the fans. I got called niggas and chicken shit and all this other racist ass shit. But you know what I'm saying? So I already knew what the deal was. So I've been on this like, bro, like wrestling been on some bullshit for years, but wasn't nobody trying to hear me because I wasn't wrestling in certain places where it was okay for me to say what I wanted to say. They like, what you think? Who you think you is? You ain't supposed to be talking like that, boy. Basically, that's how I looked at it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When they was talking about, when homegirl told LeBron to shut up and dribble, that's how I felt when they said just shut up and just stay in your place. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel.
Yeah, and flip. But you know, that's what I think y'all said something key, man. Let's see how many people are still hip in 6 months. You know, who's Twitter, Instagram, and social media is still popping in 6 months after this, and how the business itself as a whole changed in wrestling in 6 months. See how that, even from the top company all the way down to the little one, see how it changes in 6 months with African Americans and with how African Americans are portrayed on television in professional wrestling.
Yeah,
that's one of the keys there too. You know, how we're going to be portrayed, or what storylines as these writers are going to write who are not hip to the culture at all.
Well,
yeah, don't be having none of these black people doing the Tootsie Roll because you think that's what's in.
It's funny, y'all took you really close. I was getting ready to go into the closing segment, and you know, Glenn, you already kicked it off. What do you guys and ladies want to see happen from wrestling moving forward? What from you know, me personally, I want to see more black folks in creative positions. I want to see more black creative writers, not just people who love hip hop. There's a lot of black nerds. And I will say that, you know, I look at a lot of people, and I'm not going to say nerds as in a derogatory term. I'm saying that when I was coming up, and, you know, me being 33 years old, it wasn't cool to like cartoons once you hit high school. It wasn't cool to still be, for me, it wasn't cool to like wrestling, quite frankly. But now we've seen that you're not just having people who just love rap music. You have black people who love rock music and all types of things. I don't want to just see what you perceive as the prototypical black person in these creative positions, in these executive positions, just because you need to meet a black quota. I want to see fair opportunities. I want to see fair opportunities from the booking standpoint, from the executive standpoint. Like I said, I dare WWE to put the title on Lashley next week. I said that on the show last week. I don't think it's going to happen, to be honest with you. But storyline-wise, to me, it would make sense. He could beat Drew McIntyre. So what do you let's start with you, Ariela. What do you want to see moving forward?
You basically, I just want to see equality. Like you said, don't just have your black quota. All right, I'm going to get 3 black people just to say I have black people. Like, everybody should earn their opportunity equally. And, you know, like, a lot of people are exposing themselves now. People need to stand up. Like, these names that have said ignorant things, it's like, okay, they need not to be booked anymore. And like promotions that are like with people that in power that, you know, are saying whatever, and people are like, well, I'm not going to work for them no more. And then they're going to like go back. It's like, you know, if you're really going to stand up and be against people that have these mentalities, then you have to say like, I'm not going to work there and actually mean it. And these people need to go. So
Snoop?
equal opportunities and
sorry.
get rid of the ignorant people.
Equal opportunities, get rid of the ignorant people. Snoop, what you want to say?
Basically, same thing. Equal opportunity. Everybody get like, and not just race wise, just ability and what you can do. Like, don't this whole buddy system of like, just because I'm cool with this person, I give him a chance. Like, no, if the person suck, the person suck. I'm sorry. Just equal opportunity. That's all I want. Yeah.
I'd rather be told, oh, you're not that good, I don't want to book you, or not because of, you know, just something like race or something like that. I'd rather just be like, you're not that good, just keep training. You know, I'm like, okay, you're right.
Exactly.
Jon'Tae, and then Blake close it out.
For me, it's more so support. Like, support that person. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you see somebody struggling, or if you see somebody that's not good, or who can't keep up like that, instead of like trying to hoe them or trying to like just straight up just be like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? If he's a good, one thing I learned about the business, if you a good person, you can make some shit happen. You know what I'm saying? If you a good person, got a good attitude, people will fuck with you. You don't have to be the best athlete. You ain't got to be this, that, and the third. You just have to be like a good person that's coachable. You know what I'm saying? So if you got that person, if that person is like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, try to work with him a little bit. Don't just brush him off like he's nothing, because that's how you create a rebel. I feel like that's when you create somebody that just don't give a fuck, who out here mad, me. You feel me? That's who's just out here just pissed all the time because he ain't had that OG to sit here and like guide him and be like, listen, this is how you supposed to do it, instead of just getting tossed around like you wasn't nothing. So like, we need to kill the mentality of like, if he doesn't fit a certain mold that you used to, then we gotta get him up out of here. Just because he's not what you used to don't mean that he can't be something. You know what I'm saying? Like, help mold him, help get him to where he gotta go, because bro, like, everybody got a story. Everybody start from somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta get if that person has potential, help him get there, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't just sit here and be like, well, he could have been something, but whatever. Like, that's not how wrestling's supposed to be a brotherhood. Why we don't do that? Why we don't act like that?
Yeah.
The last time I felt like it was a brotherhood in the business, bro, I was 18.
Wow.
And I was yarding.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until I broke into the business where I found out how fucked up this shit was. I had more fun being a backyard wrestler, G, than an actual professional wrestler. That's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
That don't even make sense. Because of black wrestlers, yeah, but wrestlers in general, we shouldn't have to go through some of the shit that we go through just to get in the ring and fake fight with each other on some real shit. Because I don't want to fight these people for real. I don't even know them. We out here trying to create stunts and shit, trying to make sure the people go home happy. I ain't got no beef with you for real. What you mad for? This ain't no real fucking fight.
Yeah.
That shit need to change. You know what I'm saying? We need to bring the brotherhood back. For real.
Blake?
Well, first I want to comment on this. Here's my thing. If they put the title on Bobby Lashley, then what? Because guess what, Brian? They can put the title on Bobby Lashley Sunday, bring back Brock back Monday, and take it right off him. So what does it really prove?
But
I get what you're trying to say.
But he's deserved the title for a while.
Of course he has. But
that's all I'm saying.
But here's the thing about it is, you know, how many Big E deserves the title. You know, there's so many people that deserve the title on different platforms, and you don't want them to give somebody it, and you feel like, okay, they did it so it can shut us up, and then it's lackluster.
Yeah, don't do
that's
it.
Why I know
just
it's not
to
gonna
do
happen.
it. Like, do it the right. If you're gonna do it the right way. Don't do it just because everything's happening.
Yeah, that's how it's gonna feel if he does win. I think next week. That is
exactly
to shut people. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but it's just not unfortunately
do it the right way.
Well, but so y'all trying to say the storyline would make sense? He can have an MVP now. The story, like, let's just look at for the storyline. The storyline not gonna make sense. Obviously, if we take away all this, you try to say the storyline wouldn't make sense.
It would make sense, but guess what? Nobody's going to take away all this. That's the problem.
That's the problem. Yeah,
that's the problem.
That's true.
But as for this, to me, when it comes to wrestling, it goes beyond race. Because look, some of my brothers in wrestling that I mean, like, I legit, like, I consider Greg Excellent my brother, you know, and he's white, you know, like, I consider, like, you know, one of my students who's, you know, who's Spanish, like, that's like one of my little brothers. I don't want no more of this favoritism stuff. And, like, if Snoop is doing what he's doing on TV and can raise the bar, then give him that shot. If it goes to Jordan Oliver, give it to Jordan Oliver. If it goes to Angel Garza, give it to Angel Garza. How do we know how somebody is going to be if you don't never give them a shot?
You feel me?
If your excuse is, oh, we can't find, like, and this is more for anything that's TV, oh, we can't find anything to write for them. Well, guess what? This is how I look at it. One of my favorite wrestlers of all time is the Great Muta. He is my favorite wrestler of all time. He was introduced, did not talk English, but guess what? Gary Hart did. And what Gary Hart said, the wrestling in the ring translated what he was saying. So you got to see the great performer. Just like Bobby Lashley, just like Brock Lesnar. May not be strong talkers, but they have talkers for them. So for me, in wrestling, and it's in the indies too, it's for all these wrestling federations. It doesn't matter who you are, WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, MLW. It doesn't matter. All the way down to MCW, where I'm at. You know, if somebody can grab that brass ring and they are hungry enough, like we were saying, if they have that passion, if they are coachable, give them a shot. Because guess what? If they fall flat face first, all they're going to want to do is get up and make sure that doesn't want to happen again. And Brian knows this. And this is what sucks seeing Ariela here. Brian knows. In them WSU days, when I was there booking, it didn't matter who you were. Whether you was a learning Penelope Ford, a new up-and-coming Priscilla Kelly, to a Kiera Hogan, to a veteran like Mercedes Martinez. All of those people at one time would get a shot to either main event, co-main event, challenge for a title, or be a champion. Because how was I supposed to know what they brought to the table unless I gave them a shot? And newsflash, here's a little newsflash backstage thing for you. All those people I just named, they're all on TV.
Yep. I told you that before, and I know I said it to Brian, like, seeing what WSU meant when you guys were there, I was like, that's goals, you know, and I know, like, now it's a lot of drama with them and stuff, and I'm glad I was able to, like, achieve that goal by working there, but I'm like, it's definitely not the same the way from what you guys were doing, and I could see the difference, and I wanted to be there because I saw what you guys were doing with the talent at that time.
And that's what wrestling about. Wrestling is about, and I say this is one of my favorite quotes that I say to everybody. Wrestling is about partying on the mountain. Tell me this. Who wants to party on the top of a mountain by themselves? That would be the boringest party of all time. You will probably get drunk and you'll probably fall asleep. But if you're with everybody else, you're with everybody else, all your colleagues, all those people. If Jon'Tae and Snoop and Ariela, if you guys start at the same time and y'all all on that mountain together, y'all can be like, we did it, and all be happy together. So wrestling, give everybody this fair chance. Stop with that favoritism. Stop with that friendship stuff. Stop with that, oh my gosh, I don't know. And for you wrestlers that have these platforms that can help your friends, whether it's guiding them, whether it's giving them advice and all that, you know, do that for these people. I can only name one that does that, and that's Drew Gulak. Be a Drew Gulak, everybody. Be a Drew Gulak. Help everybody succeed.
Because,
that's
bro, and just to piggyback what you were saying, like, off wrestling in general, bro, is such it's supposed to be an unselfish game. Because, like, when Stone Cold Steve Austin was at the top of his game in The Rock, like, you think they want to, I'm like, bro, that's how they eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the main guy. When the main guy is the main guy, you're going to want to make sure he stays the main guy. Because he's like, bro, like, this is my food right now. We got to protect. That's just like when you in the hood and you see somebody with all the potential in the world, he the hooper. And you know what I'm saying? Out of all your friends, he the one with the most potential. Who you going to protect? The one that's probably going to go to college. The one that's gonna like, you know what I'm saying? That's gonna have a chance to help everybody get about this motherfucker. That's how I should be with wrestling.
And one thing I want to say, because I want Glenn to say something too. This is something that's really hard for me to say out loud. It's actually two things. First, I had a family member yesterday. No, it was Friday. Yeah, that was yesterday. He asked me straight up. He said, if you knew 10 people, as a matter of fact, 5. He said, if you knew 5 people in wrestling that would actually speak up and say, if it wasn't for Blake, I wouldn't have, and finish that sentence, he said, where do you think you would actually be at in wrestling? And I got very choked up by that question. And I just fell into tears because I was like, I would not be in this crappy predicament that I'm in now. And the other thing, listening to that scares me for people like anybody in wrestling, whether it's Snoop, Jon'Tae, Ariela, myself, or anything, one of the scariest thoughts that you have is if something were to illy happen to you, or if you were to pass and you're looking down from above and you're seeing all these people like, oh, you know, I just never understood why he never got the shot, or, oh, he would have been so good, and da-da-da-da-da. And you hear them saying the same thing they could have said that would have got you that shot when you were with them. That's the scariest thought about wrestling, and I don't want that to happen to any of us.
I think, it's funny that you even mentioned that because I feel like that. I feel like that now. You know what I'm saying? And it sucks because, like, bro, I put everything into wrestling. Like, bro, I was fucked up. Like, I ain't trying to give nobody a sob story or whatnot. Like, bro, I've been, like, and it's hard to talk about this too. I get choked up, but I've been clean for like 7 years now. You know what I'm saying? I started doing pills when I was in high school. That's how long I've been fucking wrestling. I ain't been homeless because of this shit, bro. I ain't put everything I ain't had into this shit. So, like, now it's just like, damn. And you know what I'm saying? Like, motherfuckers don't be seeing that shit. They don't see how much I ain't lost, how much I ain't sacrificed, how much, like I said, I'm not trying to give a sob story or none of that shit, but I did a lot for this business. I put a lot of motherfuckers on. I put a lot of motherfuckers on, bro, that, you know what I'm saying, that I will never say any names like that because I don't do shit for clout, none of that shit. But, like, I didn't help a lot of motherfuckers when I was looking for help. Wasn't nobody looking for me, bro. Even to this day, like, I just started having, like, dog-ass matches and shit like that, like, last year, starting to get put on, whatever. Now, you know what I'm saying, like, I feel like I'm getting somewhere. This shit happened. You know what I'm saying? But, like, bro, I put a lot into this shit. A lot. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's to the point, niggas, motherfuckers ain't gonna appreciate me till I'm dead. I don't want it to be like that. I ain't get into wrestling just so I can be like, well, damn, like Jon'Tae had all the potential in the world, but because I got a smart mouth, but because I stand for something, but because I got morals and I don't let nobody walk all over me and all this other shit, I'm a threat. I don't deserve to be on shows because I stand up for myself, or I stand up for, like, the good for people. Like, what sense does that make?
Well, you
like,
brought something. One of the things that I wanted to jump in there real quick is the people saying Black Lives Matter. You saying we hear you, black people. We want you to hear you the way we want you to hear you. We tired of code switching. Code switching is exhausting. I shouldn't have to dumb myself down in order for you to understand me. So if, you know, a Jon'Tae is somebody, or Blake is somebody who's outspoken, or if Ariela is somebody who's going to put you in your place, and, you know, if Snoop say, hey, look, I don't like this, and or he just, hey, you know what, decides he wants to come to the show and be the life of the party, be loud. If Glenn wanted to come in and talk to somebody and motivate them, let them be themselves. At the end of the day, we want you to hear us. We want you to understand that Black Lives Matter, not just in the world, but in everything, in professional wrestling, in all surfaces. But we want you to let us be ourselves.
You know, Brian, I think that's the key there. And, you know, my last thing you said, that's the problem. Everybody wanted to hear. Mm-hmm. Nobody wanted to comprehend. Mm-hmm. See, that's when you having a conversation is not you just listening to me. A conversation is you understanding what I'm saying out of my mouth and that you're comprehending. And when you comprehend, then you can change. And that's the problem. They've been hearing for so long and nobody been willing to comprehend. And now what's happening, a lot of people are starting to comprehend. That's why you're starting to see change.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we're going to get ready to get out of here. I really enjoyed this. I hope y'all did too. We're gonna start from Ariela, and let's move on from Ariela to Blake, to Glenn, Snoop, and then to Jon'Tae let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Ariela Nyx.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. That is It's Blizz, ITSBLIZ.
You can find me on Twitter at Real Glen Thomas, Instagram at WME Podcasts.
You can find me on Facebook. That's where all my shit really is. Like, I'm always going off on somebody or something, you know. So just add me at Jon'Tae Kieth, you know, and I'm gonna just keep it 100 with y'all. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all all the time. So, you know.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter, Snoop Strikes OAO, or you can find me on Instagram at Snoop OAO. And then my Pro Wrestling Tees page, just type in Snoop Strikes, show some support on there. That's all.
Buy a Snoop shirt. Stop playing, y'all.
Yes, sir.
If I had some money, I'd buy your shirt too.
No, I just want to add. I just want to say, like, yo, like it was a pleasure because I'm meeting like a lot of new people. Like I'm meeting, I know Brian, but the rest of y'all. Like I'm meeting y'all for the first time. Like Snoop, I know you because of MLW. So shout out to you and Myron. I'm real cool with Myron and Jordan. Ariela, like all y'all. Like it was a pleasure. Like getting a different perspective of all y'all. Like I hope one day we can all like do some shit like this again because like this is dope. You feel me? Like it was an honor talking to all y'all.
100%.
100%. Likewise, man.
Yep.
See y'all at a show. I definitely would holler and say what's up.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm happy about this. One of the things, like I said, I know for me personally, it was a rough week last week. I struggled. I didn't want to watch wrestling. I didn't watch Raw live. Wednesday, I got myself together. And, you know, shout out to Amber Rodriguez, who, you know, in her absence, she was supposed to be on a panel. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to make it tonight. But, you know, I went to her first, ironically, and said, hey, what do you think about this? And, you know, we discussed, we put the names together. So, you know, she co-booked this with me. And she
had some phone troubles. Her phone broke down. So yeah.
Shout out to Amber, though. We still love you, Amber.
We still love her.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you subscribe. Hit the subscribe button down below. Subscribe to the Wrestling Realm. Share it with your peoples. You know, shout out to my brother, my partner, the real Dwayne Allen. Backwards, but the real Dwayne Allen. Make sure you follow him at Dwayne Allen 24. Follow me at Brian H. Waters and the Wrestling Realm. Anywhere you get your podcast, drop a 5-star rating, hit the follow button. Till next time. So long, everybody.
R.I.P. Danny Havoc.
R.I.P. Big Dan.
Yeah.
That's crazy. R.I.P. Big Dan.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this week's episode of Wrestling for the Culture. For more episodes or more content from the Wrestling Realm Network, hit the subscribe button down low. Make sure you turn on the bell for notifications. Till the next time, too sweet.